All right, here we go. We're going. So, hello, friends of 1% Better. Today we've got Harvey on the show. So we're going to learn a bit more about you, Harvey, and
Hello.
I'll pop your links below, and you can talk about a bit of the stuff at the end. But for now, we've been through some interesting experiences together recently. So I don't know, where do you want to kick this off?
First of all, I want to say you're welcome.
Thank you.
I need to say that as many times as I fucking can. I'll just quickly give a background, and then I want to find out what happened that night. So basically, my name is Harvey. I work as a dating and relationship coach. I work mostly with women. The reason why I say mostly is because I get people of all orientations, all genders, and all forms of the rainbow coming to me as well. Because when we talk about dating and relationships, it's fucking everything. You know what I mean? Like, there are other coaches and stuff out there that'll tell you what to do, how to do it, things like that. But I've become, I guess I would say, like, I've become really conceited. So I can't be fucked doing that kind of stuff anymore. And what I've discovered through my honestly, like, pure frustration of humanity, of just people being too afraid to admit to themselves what the hell is going on inside them, I've discovered it's just all about emotions. So when we deal with emotions first, and that's something that I really want to do with you now, or potentially during this call, Brandon, is to dive deeper into your emotions, because once we assimilate, integrate, when we understand ourselves at a deeper level, because a lot of people are like, oh, but it's my past, this past, like, fucking bullshit. Like, let's just figure out where we want to go, what emotions we need to feel, and then things, in my mind, I call it automatic action. Shit just happens automatically. And that is what happened with you that night. Would you agree? Well, when we went out, you met someone very special, and it was like, it just happened so quickly. I don't understand. To me, it was exactly how it meant to happen. In fact, when you left, one of the other guys was like, "What the hell?" Like, it's like one of the other guys was like very interested in the girl that you were interested in.
Yes.
Or at least the girl that was interested in you, and was like, "Man, what the fuck happened?" And I could see there was the mindset difference between you and him was like, it was like the Grand Canyon apart.
Yes.
It's because I'd spent more time talking to you and less time talking to him, and there was that thing. So I always see myself as a guide, because I believe, just to before we get into whatever, more we're going to talk about, it's like, I believe we already have the answers inside us. Everyone else will go to a coach because they feel like they're lacking something. While the people I work with are always like, I thought I came to Harvey because I thought I needed the answer. Or like I needed a answer, only to discover I had the answers all along. And I'm like, fuck yes, because then you guys can then show other people their answer, because it's unique for us all, about whatever emotional level we're at, whatever we need right now. Sometimes, like, I'm sick right now, so I'm going to be fucking amazingly sick. When I was out with you, I was moody. I didn't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck them. But the night before, the night after, I was like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
But let me know. So, for everyone who's listening, we went out, what was it, Friday night?
Yes.
We do what I call, which is just Taste of Melbourne, where we just go and find a random place, and turns out we went to a place that we sometimes go to for food anyway. And then we just go out afterwards, because it's a hell of a lot better than just, if you want to go out, it's a hell of a lot better than just going out cold. It helps you, juice your wheels, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then Brandon and I, we met the day before, because I was just doing random interviews around Melbourne. And then he was just picking my brain. And we went out. And then you met someone, and then she was like, oh, I'm leaving now. And then what happened? I want to fucking know.
Yeah, sure. Well, did we want to... I mean, this is more our conversation, and the listeners just happening to be listened. That's kind of how I view it. But maybe they would like to know a bit more of the lead up. I mean, I guess you've gave a bit of a background. But one thing I just want to mention is Harvey, actually, for the listeners, Harvey came up to me with a fucking banana, right? He assaulted me with a banana. No. But what I liked about that, Harvey, was, I had the YouTube shirt on, so that sort of must have popped something in you. And then you thought, oh, YouTube. Came over to me, and then I thought it was hilarious with the banana. It all went from there. But you had a microphone attached to that banana. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, what you said were like, okay, you invited me to go on a night out. The following night, and so I thought, yeah, why not? We seem to have some similar interests, like with YouTube and all that stuff. And so we're like, cool. And then leading up, where'd we go? We had some food, like you said, And then we went to... Where did we go next?
The bar called ABC, Asian Beer Cafe in Melbourne.
Yeah. So we sat down at some tables. We had a chat with a few people, just sitting around there having a soch. All pretty normal. Then we went to the D floor for a bit. Had a dance.
You went fucking nuts. You were like, start a conga line!
Yeah, man. I think I tried 3 times, but motherfucker, there was one guy. I was like leading him, saying, you can be the front of the train. And so he would comply for the first 20 seconds, and at the end of it, he'd just... I don't know, he seemed drunk half off his face, and then he'd end a conga line. I'm like, what are you doing, man? This is a conga line, bro. But anyway, that was a bit of fun. And then, I guess shit went down with this next interaction when we moved on to the next bar. So you'd like to know what happened?
Well, basically, just to give other people a recap, because I think it's really important, because this... Like, the reason why we're talking about this as well, because it's a great learning experience. Obviously, recapping, blah, 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 who cares? So I bump into an old mate. You guys go onto the balcony. And then when I come out onto the balcony, right?
Yeah.
I see you motherfuckers just, like, sitting on chairs against the wall.
Yes.
Kind of like...
Yes.
Like, freaking your fucking beans or some shit. Like, you weren't doing anything.
Yeah, we're like,
That filled me with so much rage. And just, like... It's like, I come out with you guys, we're here to chat to people, to be social humans, and you guys look like you're barely even talking to each other.
Yeah.
So I grab my friend and I just sit down with some people, being like, hey, we're going to sit here, we're going to join you guys. So I catch up with my mates with other people, because that's probably a hell of a lot better than just sitting randomly in a corner.
Yes.
And then you bitches come along. I'm using my language, like, fucking hell, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, no, go for it, man. Go.
Like, so then you guys come along and join in, and the guys that we are talking to just happen to be girls. And then there's some photos taken chatting, and one of my friends is like, he was asking me for advice, and then the girls pipe in, and I was like, yeah, you guys do it, I don't give a shit. And then
things happen very fast. So... Yeah, I was sitting against the wall like a fucking social hermit. From our perspective, let's just call him Barry, who I was sitting with. Me and Barry were sitting against the wall, just having a chat amongst ourselves about some intelligent bullshit. Like we do, intellectuals. And, we just saw the situation. Sure, you're having a chat. There wasn't really much room for us to conveniently come in. But that was just all a load of shit. So we had a bit of, sometimes it takes me a bit to warm up, but... Really, I should have just fucking walked over there straight away and went, what's up? So, after our intelligent conversation, well, that's what we did. But Barry was talking to me like, he's like, okay, we need a plan. Here's what we should say. And then he ran through his plan. I'm like, dude, I don't think we need a plan. We can just walk over there. Like, what's a big deal? And so we did it. So there we were. And we rocked up, started chatting. And cool, I think a minute in, I introduced myself to the 2 ladies, fresh faces. And, we're talking a bit more. Everyone was talking amongst themselves. And when did things start happening? Well, what I noticed was our friend, let's just call him Gary. I'm using all aliases here.
Gary and Barry, yep.
So, Gary, you were talking with before, giving him advice and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed Gary, he was quite enthused in conversation with the girls, talking about, like, confidence and relationships and things along those lines. And so I was listening intently at all of this to sort of gather what was going on. But anyway, I think... Do you want to know what the breaking point was when shit actually started to happen?
Tell me.
Sure. So what it was... I'll use aliases for these names of the girls too. Sally... And then there was, I can't remember her name, Ruby. Let's call her Ruby, okay.
I like all your, like, Gary, Barry, and Ruby. Like,
yeah, so there's Ruby, and then she has her friend, Sally, with her, like, 2 best friends. And so Ruby, she goes to the group, why don't we all get drinks? Where are all the drinks? And then I come kind of out of nowhere, and I say, no. And then she turns her head, looks at me, and goes, oh, why not? And then I go, because I don't want to. Full conviction. And I honestly didn't want to, so it was extremely authentic. And at that moment, dude, snap. Won her over, sold, done. That was it. Like, that was it. And it just happened so fast from there. That's when I think the next thing I remember was her reaching over to grab my hand. And the next fucking thing I know, I'm in this complete different state of mind. I'm talking about these fucking rings on her fingers. Like, she wouldn't let go. I'm like, oh, okay. This is, if we want to call it an IOI, like I come from a pickup perspective, but an IOI, right? She was like looking at me, touching me, wouldn't let go. I'm like, okay, well, that's one or two, right? But we'll see where things go. And I turned into this, like, creative beast mode. Like, my body's so freaked out. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Oh, I've seen these videos.
Did it automatically.
Yeah. And I just started saying, like, toying with this idea that her rings were fucking weapons. And she was wearing, like, brass knuckles ready to punch people out. And I just went into this full-on creative mode. And from there, like, I was... It really clicked for me. What you said earlier in the night was you can't explain all this shit in words because you are communicating on an emotional level. And that's what I felt in that moment onwards. So I can keep going through it if you'd like, unless you have any questions at this point.
No. What I'd like to point out, and for everyone listening as well, with the whole thing, because truth be told, when we do communicate, we are always communicating at an emotional level more, and most people are trying to solve the problem logically. Especially what I find, so most guys will try and solve a problem logically. They're like, what do I, like before with the alias of my the guys that we're with, they're like, what do we do? What's the plan? This stuff, and it's like you were like, no, fuck it, there is no plan, right? Now, what I find is most guys will generally default to a mind-based thing because they're not sensitive to what's happening in their body. You dancing, going crazy, getting all the conga line stuff, that was your body becoming sensitive. It's like, I want to move, I want to shake, I want to do this. Let's get into it. I thought it was really beautiful. I was like, yeah, this motherfucker, like everything is happening exactly as planned. What I find with a lot of women is that just generally with people, because this is a human thing, is that when we get hurt, we then try and close up our mind, or if an experience, we try, not close up our mind, close up our body, our heart, because our body stores emotions. And so the more we can tap into those emotions, those are the things that we communicate, regardless of if we know it or not. Now, you were buzzing to meet people, right? So that's when we got past yourself, because earlier on in the night, you were a little bit stiff.
Yes.
Like, you were a bit stiff. I saw that. That's basically why I was spending a lot of time just trying to talk to you and position you in places where you could meet people. I don't know if you noticed that, but I was always repositioning you or positioning you very subtly, or I was sitting intentionally in certain spots.
Right.
So that way you,
See, I missed some of this stuff. I'd be really curious to hear more. Yeah,
like no one notices me doing all this stuff. But that's what I was doing because I wanted you to like open up. And as you were opening up, you were getting more sensitive to what was happening in your body. Hence why, like, I want to dance, I want to do this. Because that's the shit that we want to do. People who are more stuck in their head, they're like, all right, how do I feel happy? What's the formula for happiness? Let's go and I will dance for a bit. Do beep, beep, four, beep. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Maybe I want to chat to some people. Oh, that didn't work. It's because there's no deeper level. Now, because you were... that authentic communication where you said, no, I don't want drinks. Also, what's communicated is, no, I don't want drinks, but no, I want to meet you. I want to meet more. I want to meet someone. That's what's at a deeper level. Now, the girl that was there that we were I don't remember the name, Ruby, that was the pseudonym. She was someone who was fucking tapped into her emotions. Whether or not that's because of the night or who she is, it does not matter. So it's like, of course, when you communicate that, at that deeper unconscious level, that is also like, it's like they're like you're both radio frequencies were tuned to that thing. Like she was a receiver, you were the fucking radio tower. And that's what happens, right? So this is why I care about emotions, because it's like shit happens automatically. You don't have to be like, all right, who lies first, men or women? Which is what a lot of guys do when they, like the old when they're trying to learn how to like talk to girls and stuff.
Classic.
So then after that, she was like, hey, we're leaving. Then she comes back to collect you, and then you leave.
Bizarre, right? Just a point on the logic. What I noticed was with Gary, when he was talking to Ruby with the pom-poms, she actually said to him, and this isn't like I'm talking down on Gary, I love Gary, this is simply what I observed.
Yeah.
What I saw was, like, yeah, he was trying to figure out everything logically, and in terms of like, we're talking about self-confidence, right? And Gary's going, oh, like, you know, I think I am self-confident. Like, yeah, I walked over here, sat down and chat with you. How is that not confidence and all this? But then Rudy was trying to explain to him, like, well, like, what it looked like to me, what I saw was, like, she was basically qualifying him. He wasn't qualifying her, because he was the one, like, sort of, like, if you're confident, you know you're confident. You don't need any sort of validation. You don't need to be... Exactly. And so the difference between Gary and I was, like, I didn't have to ask. I wasn't qualifying myself, whereas I saw Gary very much was. He was, like, down on his knees, basically asking this girl, how do I be confident? That's essentially what he was communicating in my mind.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, go for it, yeah.
So I think, and then because there was then me, who was a complete opposite, because there was that point of reference, maybe that helped her jump from him to me. Like, okay, this guy, Brandon, he gets it, and then that was it. So
yeah.
If he was there or not, maybe that would have changed things up. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's just what I saw. Okay, you might be right.
In this call, I kind of wanted to do like a mini coaching thing. I don't know if we'll have time for that, but because this itself is something that's great to talk about. I want you to think of it as in you guys are tuning frequencies. Like you have a little radio, and you know, like the old school radio is how you have a dial, how you can like change the frequency that you're connecting to. Now, you were at that point, because you'd spent the night and I was like subtly like putting you in positions where you could do it automatically.
Yeah.
Tune your frequency to something that was of social, of I want to meet someone. This is what I'm gunning for, so to speak. That was your frequency. So in turn, the interactions, the relationships, the level of communication that you're going to get across and going to experience are in alignment with that frequency. Similarly, Gary, his frequency was of, am I confident? I need to prove it to myself. So, which means the experiences and the personalities that he's going to bring out of people are going to be in alignment with that emotional frequency. So it's, you both were in the same group talking to the same girl and had two completely different experiences, which shows that it's down to the emotional frequency that you guys are at. And I'll give you another story just to flip it when it comes to, because, you know, I look at dating as men, women, men, like it's all the same shit anyway, right?
Yeah.
We might use different terms in this call because they're the terms that you're used to and you want, but it's always very, you know, so once in Melbourne, we have Lord of the Fries. I don't know if that you have that where you are at. It's a vegan fast food chase. It's a vegan fast food place. And one day I was feeling hungry, so I went down there. And there was a cute girl there. And I was single at the time, so I was like, you know, sure, why not? I lock eyes with her, and then I order my food. I sit down with her, and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to be your dinner date for tonight. And she's like laughing, and she's cute. We're having a good time. And then she starts to tell me her problems.
Okay.
And she starts to tell me her problems, and she's like, I got kicked out of this place. I'm just feeling really angry. I don't know why. And, I'm single, but, I'm happy being single, but I just want someone and like this. And I'm like, look, I just happen to be the one person in the fucking globe that can help you with this. And you just, this is your luck, right? So do you want my help? Yes or no? She's like, yeah. And then this is what I told her. I said, look, you're here talking to me about how you wished you met someone great tonight. I came here in one of two options. I came here as either someone who was potentially going to be, you know, a lover, a partner, something. You know, something in alignment with what you want, or someone to help solve the problem. And look what I am now. I could have been one of both, but you chose me to be the other one. The one that doesn't help you solve your problem. And this is what I was talking to you about earlier, before we went out, just very simply, that if you think there's a problem to solve, the experiences you get will be in alignment with that problem to solve. That if you think there's something to solve, right? You'll then get problems to solve. So Gary thinks he's not confident, so he'll get experiences where he's trying to validate his confidence.
Yes.
This is why even the other guy, the guy that I bumped into, who was my friend I hadn't seen in a while, even he was like, this was strange, this was random, because my fucking frequency dominates all you bitches, where I think normal. So I am more convicted. I am more stronger in my frequency that
Yes.
it is normal for us to meet people.
Yes.
This just happens. Every time we leave the house, we meet people. That is the standard. Now, you might say, and most people might say, how the fuck does that happen? Because I've never experienced that. Well, find the fucking feeling first. When you find that feeling first, right, when you feel what it's like, so if you can imagine now, if you can picture it inside you, like your ideal situation, maybe you go out, maybe you meet the partner of your life, maybe you just meet a new lover, whatever it is you want, and you capture that feeling, right? And you feel it fully, pretty soon your subconscious is going to like that feeling than whatever bullshit you're feeling right now. And so soon your frequency, your radio frequency will naturally try and come into alignment with that. So you will then start to look for situations that are in alignment with that. So that's one day I decided, I was like, I want to meet someone every time I go out. That's it. And it's happened. When I decided that, every time I go out, I always meet someone. And whether or not, it's like, intimate or more or whatever, because right now I'm single. Yeah. It does not matter. But it's like, that's my standard. It's the standard because I know what that feels like. But if you say you don't know what it feels like, I've never like dated anyone before, I don't know how to do this. It's like, then that you're going to get those situations.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I remember when I was first learning to talk to girls, when I was like shaking in my little boots, when I was coaching guys, just exclusively. Before I started coaching guys, I remember I would go out with this guy and he thought that meeting people and interacting with humans was frustrating. So in turn, he then not only brought out the frustration in the woman that he was chatting to, but in turn, he also met women that were frustrating. At the time, I was like, this should be easy. So I met people that were in alignment with what I wanted. In fact, there were really random situations. Yeah. Like so random that you cannot fucking pick it. It's like you tune, I can't describe it. It's very emotional. It's not logical. So it's completely opposite to probably a lot of other people that you're interviewing here. But I'm glad you've had a taste of this real world.
And when you have that thought in your head, like, I want to meet someone tonight, are you constantly thinking about that throughout the night, or do you put it in like the back of your mind?
No, you feel it first.
You feel it first.
It's not that. So you might create the situation. So you might like create the situation in your head that you would like to happen. Then you spend maybe a good 5 minutes. This is what I do to try and like reprogram my subconscious as well. And this is what I facilitate people to do to like fucking enhance it as well. Yeah. You feel what it feels like to have done that, right? So you feel as in like, you feel it like past tense. You're like, yeah, I had this great night. I met someone, or I'm looking for the love of my life. How great would it feel to have that? Now, what I do is I then turn that up, because I am not looking for mediocre. I'm looking for amazing. So I'm like, what could the most 20 out of 10 situation be? Like, what would that feel like? Would I feel just ecstatic? Would I feel amazing? Would I feel like a fucking boss? Like all those kinds of things, right? Then when you feel that, you don't have to keep trying to force yourself to feel it, because pretty soon, whether or not that's instantaneous or whether or not it takes time, that new emotion will feel a hell of a lot better than your old current set of emotions, your current set of attractions, your current set of alignments. So you can try and keep it in your mind if you'd like, but more not the actual goal, but the feeling. That's the thing, because that feeling then becomes your compass.
I in terms of the feeling part, I'm not a logical guy. That's bullshit. I just have behaviors that are very logical most of the time throughout my life. And so when you talk about feelings, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's still kind of new to me, like actually being in those feelings in that certain context. And I've sort of drawn some parallels with, like, I feel like a lot of people who aren't in this emotional state or whatever have experienced times in their life where they have been sort of in that zone or state or whatever you want to call it. Like when I'm with my best friends, for example, like, those people you just get along with so well, you have no care in the world, you don't give a fuck of what about anyone thinks. And like, to me, that was sort of, it seems like when you walk into a bar or something, or you walk in with this intention of, oh, I I got to get the girlfriend. It's got to go this way and that way. That's when everything fucks up, and you're no longer being like how you would when, like, you know, maybe you're around your best friend, for example. So that's sort of like a parallel I've drawn.
Yeah, that's a really good parallel, because you go in like, I gotta meet someone, and then you go up to someone and it's like, are you the someone? And they're like, oh, please don't hurt me. I'm just like, I don't know. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the thing. So instead, right, just because I want you to have consistent, amazing nights out, whatever that means to you. You know, I know right now you're into like meeting women. So let's I'm supportive of all relationships, of all styles or whatever.
Yes.
So. And I know you had not that much time. So I want to, just now for a second, if you can close your eyes, just for me. We're not going to go into like the deep fucking voodoo magic of what I do. But just for a second, close your eyes. And for people listening to this, you can do this as well. But I want you to imagine and describe to me, just for now, like if it was a 10 out of 10, like the most amazing night you could, that you went out, you had fun with friends, you met someone, like it was just an amazing night. Like what would happen in that night?
Great question. So I'd say first off the bat, it'd be nice to be around a best friend who I jibe with, and specifically that person would be D1. And I'm sure D1's smiling right now if he's listening. It would be going out with my buddy D1, specifically in Canada, Vancouver. Would head off to a bar, have some drinks, and just talk like we normally would. Like when I'm talking with Dion, it's just fucking awesome, and to be with him overseas is just even better, because we don't really get to see each other in person. So that would be like the starter. And then where I'm at right now in my life, meeting women and working on my confidence and breaking through all that social bullshit. Like I grew up as an introverted, believing I wasn't really, so I was never the popular kid at high school. I floated from group to group. I was just really sort of not socially inept, but just not out there at all, and a bit more reserved. So a lot of what I'd like the night to look like is me pushing my boundaries and getting out of my comfort zone a bit more. So that entails approaching women. Okay. And women,
now stop for a second.
Stop. Sure.
And that emotion of breaking your boundaries, what does it feel like having broken some boundaries?
Just fucking, like, so rewarding. It's like, holy shit, you know? It really is a bodily experience. It's like, I don't know, you just feel like, when I have broken through these boundaries, I felt like a whole fucking new person. I get a rush of energy, and I just feel like, what the fuck was I thinking? I don't know. I can't really put it in words. It's just I can't put it in words. It's incredible, that feeling of breaking through.
Okay, so when you break through that boundary, and look, for everyone listening, I hope you also noticed the difference in his voice as well. When you talk like that, you just had a completely different demeanor. You were describing before, you're like, oh, this is nice, and like fucking amazing, like very different. So when you break a boundary, right, and you feel that fucking amazing feeling, where in your body would you say you feel that the most?
You know, I feel like it comes from sort of just below my, what do you call male breasts? Pecs or whatever.
Pecs.
Just below my pecs, sort of like in the chest, on the side of the heart, in the center. Like that's where I feel a lot of energy, and a little bit in like my lower back as well. And I straighten up. I feel like I'm straightening up, and there's this pulse through the back of my back, sort of thing, as well.
Now, just for a second, or maybe just for 10 seconds, I want you to just feel that feeling. In fact, I want you, just for the next 10 seconds, and we're not gonna talk for the next 10 seconds. I want you to make that feeling the only feeling you feel. In fact, if you can, like a dagger, I want you to fucking stab your heart with that feeling. Like I want you to make it the most intense version of that breakthrough, that feeling in your chest, your heart, in that chest cavity feeling that you can possibly make it. So whatever you can do, just put your consciousness into that feeling. 3, 2, 1, go. Now I think that's 10 seconds.
That's 10 seconds.
Probably. First of all, how do you feel right now?
I feel, you know what? I feel slightly unsettled.
Why do you feel slightly unsettled?
I think it's because I'm being assessed and I have an eye on me. So now my brain's gone into overdrive mode thinking, oh, fuck, what if I don't? What am I meant to do here? I don't know what he's expecting.
Nothing.
So that's what happened, yeah.
But isn't that interesting? That's the most perfect thing. Because that shows me that in order for you to feel that feeling, you need to get off that self-assessment.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if we had more time, if I was guiding you through this,
yeah,
we would then go through and feel that self-judgment feeling. Because it's like, what's stopping you from getting that higher like radio frequency of like smashing through boundaries? Because once you tune into that feeling of in your chest, right?
Yes.
And probably when I'm not around, you'll be able to do it yourself in your own time. Once you tune into that, you are then going to be in experiences where you can smash that.
Dude, like I literally felt it 60 seconds ago when it wasn't like an assessment type thing. Like when we're just talking naturally.
What assessment?
Like,
that's your job. I'm not assessing. No one's
yeah,
assessing.
exactly. That's my fault.
Shit.
That's just my brain's perception, right? And it's whacking me up. But yeah, literally 60 seconds ago when I didn't have that perception, I felt it. It was in me. You saw my voice raise and everything. Like I raised my whole body.
Which is good. Which is really good. So now that's a little bit there, your body naturally wants that more. Now you probably experienced it already because you're craving. You know, this is the whole point of your podcast, right? 1% better. You're like, how do I get 1% better? Who can I talk to that'll help me get that thing?
Yes.
That's like already in your alignment. Now, but if we make that much more bigger, it's actually pretty good that you felt a little bit self-conscious, because that shows that that's the next step, right? It's not something to work on. It's just something to integrate, because that feeling of people judging you or people assessing you, right? When you understand that emotion deeper, negative emotions, it's just energy. It's all fucking energy, which means, and emotions generally have two sides of the same coin. So whether someone might be self-conscious, once they integrate that self-consciousness, it might be energy that is used to perform, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, if you're afraid of public speaking, then you get over it. That energy that you use for that fear then becomes the thing that fuels you. Like, for me, when I was younger, I used to be super self-conscious and socially anxious and stuff like that. Or I used to, in a similar thing where I used to think people were watching me. That energy, once I integrate it, we call it integrating. We're not trying to heal because there's nothing wrong with you. Once I personally integrated that emotion became fuel for better performances, better public speaking, better whatever. There's two sides to every emotion, and I hope that makes sense, that you have to experience it. This is what we were talking about before when we first met. We're like, you got to experience, then you experience it, you're like, this shit's the best.
Yeah, and I'm like, snap, bam, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that I made you in a self-conscious state, but I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that just shows you what's the next thing to experience. And if you have the time, which you probably do because everyone has time for everything, I would recommend, and for anyone else who feels very similar, if you feel like people are judging you, especially in a high pressure situation, I want you to take some time out to feel that high pressure. So feel what it's like for people to judge you and expose your consciousness to that feeling, because then your body gets used to it and then it gets over it. It's a beautiful thing. Like, it's not for example, it's like performance, or how do I say this? Like, activities themselves are meaningless. It's what we give them the meaning that makes it painful or makes it scary. But if you were to experience it, then you get over it very quickly. So that's what I found is, if we basically expose ourselves to our fears, and we can do that in our own time, you become quite fearless very fucking quickly, because you've already experienced it. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You've already experienced it in your mind. Now, people often think this is counterintuitive, because then you're like, aren't I going to get more afraid? It's like, no. You just haven't been afraid enough that you've gotten over it. You know, it's like people, they have like a snapping point. I remember, for example, one time back when I stopped coaching, when I was touring. When I stopped touring, I came back and I was an Uber driver for a short amount of time. And just because I was needed to make extra money, blah, blah, blah. And I remember this one time where these people made me stop on the side of a road And I was always like, oh, I'm a bit nervous stopping on sides of roads.
Yeah.
They made me stop on the side of the road, and it was in a place that I could not stop. It was peak hour traffic, and they also wanted to put furniture in the car.
Oh my gosh.
And in that moment, I'm just like, there's nothing else I can do. Like, this is the worst that can possibly happen. And so I got over it very quickly, and then I became an arrogant motherfucker when it came to parking on sides of roads. I'm like, yeah, fuck them. Everyone can drive around now. I don't give a shit. You know? But that's what happens. Yeah. So what I found is we don't need to experience those things in order to get over our fears sometimes. We just need to expose ourselves to what that fear looks like until our body's like, oh, yeah. That's not so bad.
No worries.
And then, and our frequencies, our emotional frequencies, tune very quickly. Now, I feel like this is the time you said it's 10:50 a.m. where I am.
Oh, so I got half an hour more because it's 10:20.
Oh my god, time zone differences.
Yeah,
sorry, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So, what's some feelings, stuff through your head right now as I'm saying all of this stuff?
I'm feeling like it's resonating, especially after that night.
Yeah.
Yes. Another thing I just want to quickly touch on is for like other guys, when let's say they're on the D floor on a night out and they kind of feel like dancing, like they can sort of feel it in their body a little bit, but maybe not completely self-aware of their own emotions yet, but they kind of feel like dancing. But the number one thing I find in a lot of people is people give so much shits about what people think of them. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. So can we... Does this method of, you know, being extremely self-aware of what you're feeling in your body in that moment, do you feel like that's something that can completely crush the feelings of what everyone thinks around you, or is that something else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's completely it.
Yes.
That's it in a nutshell, because if you were to expose yourself to that feeling first, then it wouldn't be such a big deal and you'd probably be more comfortable dancing.
Yeah.
In fact, when you open your heart up more as a extensive to that thing, right? When you open up your heart up more, you'll probably be more emotionally receptive to the emotions that people are conveying via music. Because it's all emotional exchange. What we don't realize, it's everything, most things in my mind anyway, are an emotional exchange. You know, why do people buy something from someone? It's because they like how it makes them feel.
Yes.
It adds to their identity,
yes.
Whatever that means. So similarly, if you're afraid of dancing, it's because, you know, like whatever is inside you is blocking you from the dance. But also if you get in, like if you allow yourself to feel whatever feeling is holding you back, you then naturally become more attuned to the music and you probably want to dance in alignment. You know, you were like this motherfucker who's like wanting to go around conga lines. I just wanted to feel, because it was like a bit reggaeton. It was a bit like the Spanish. I don't know what the style of music it was. And that was moving. You know, it's a beautiful thing. In fact, you become both a receiver and a beacon, and you transmit. You become like part of a network. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if humanity is kind of like a brain. You know, you have your neurons firing and stuff, and different neurons are responsible for different things. Instead, so you get in attunement to the giant fucking neural network that is humanity, because we're all wired to connect anyway. You know this, I know this, right?
Yes.
You connect better, but emotions are how we connect. You know, you want someone who, like, for example, right now with your 1% better, you're like you want to like connect with higher, or like things that make you feel like you're getting better.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Notice how I say make you feel like you're getting better, because that's your perspective.
Yes.
Right? For me, in my mind, I'm already at my like peak, even though I'm expanding more. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
gotcha.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to change anything about me, and that's the things that I'm by. But I can't remember where I'm going with this. But so you're part of this network, and as you become more sensitive, your body is your sensory organ. We store emotions in our body. Like, so what are you going to say? Sorry, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So just in terms of what you're saying, I, as someone who's generally like very, very up in my own head, very logical, you know, read over like 200 books, super intellectual, always with like, I'm just thinking. And I know there's people listening right now that may be slightly turned off by the terminology we're using in terms of, atoms, networking, but I just want to make it clear that I totally resonate with what you're saying, but I feel like, you know, you just have to go out and experience it yourself, and then you'll come back and you'll listen to something like this and go, you know, now I know what they're saying. So for anyone that's like skeptical or anything, you know, I used to be like that, but definitely not anymore since I've started working on myself these past 3 years. So I just wanted to make that clear for like the audience listening.
Yeah, thank you, because I think that's actually really important to make that clear.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when you do experience it, it all kind of makes sense.
Yes.
For example, it's like, have you ever tried to force a good idea out of you?
Good question.
Like, you're like, I must be creative now. But,
yeah.
But it often happens when you're not thinking about it.
Yes.
That's because, your body fucking knows. Your body is collecting information. That's what I observed originally about, like, the people who do have social anxiety listening to this. And this is what I've written in my book, and eventually I'm going to go to Bali to finish it because I've been putting it off for a while.
Okay.
Just like sit on a tropical paradise and just finish this book.
Cool.
But what I was going to say was, if you pay attention to what's actually going on in your mind, right? Your mind is... I like to think of your mind as like a little social factory. Like, your mind is constantly trying to figure out what to say, what to do, all these kinds of stuff. You don't have to consciously try. In fact, consciously trying is the thing that sometimes slows it down. Like, if your life is like a river, you trying to speed up the flow or worrying about things not happening is like you getting stuck in the reeds. You naturally slow yourself down. That whole river thing, that's something that actually comes from Buddhism, I think, originally. Like, there's a word, I can't remember what they call it. For a word before you're enlightened, it means like respectable one. And that roughly translates to someone being on a river. But, so it's like, you don't necessarily, like, worrying about things happening is the thing that slows it down. Instead, if you're someone who wants to, I guess, like, sample this right now or sample what I'm talking about, this automatic action, you can try and get in touch with your impulses. So your impulse is what you feel like you should do at this given point in time. And that also includes your negative impulses as well. So if you're afraid, be fucking afraid. If you want to do something, go do something. It's more often than not what causes more emotional blockages or things like that is what we think we should do. And Tony Robbins, I don't know if have you ever like watched or done any of Tony Robbins stuff?
I've watched and read a lot of it, yeah.
Okay, well, he's like, we should all over ourselves, I should do this, I should do that, blah, blah, blah. But that's what happens. That stops, like, the flow, so to speak. Like, I remember I was trying to lose weight. I had one example in my life. I was trying to lose weight, and I was like, I should eat this, I should eat that. And I kept finding myself eating all of these foods that weren't necessarily in alignment with my goals. One day I decided I can just eat whatever I want and I'll lose weight. And guess what? I started to gain weight. But that was something I needed to do. I needed to experience the pain of gaining weight in order to get over it and then be like, all right, that doesn't work.
Right.
And what I found naturally was the weirdest thing when I told myself I can eat whatever I want and still lose weight. I mean, lose weight, I mean fat. What happened was I actually stopped wanting to eat all those food that I was eating constantly on a regular basis anyway. Because part of me thought that I shouldn't do this, and then I felt like a lack, and so I ate all those foods that made me feel that lack.
Right.
It's a weird thing that once you understand this, everything just makes a creepy sort of sense, and it just fucking works. And I remember this when I was doing this with money. I was freaking out about money. I'm like, actually, no, I can do whatever I want and still make money. I can buy whatever I want. And then I bought some stuff that I was putting off. I bought some furniture. And then the next week, because I was not stressed out about money, I got on some sales call and I made around $3,000 in 2 hours. And I was like, that's a pretty good start. But
Sure thing.
But yeah, and the reason why I'm saying this is because it's just to point out the fact that it's sure I would have still got on those sales calls, but would I have been as effective if I was freaking out about money? That would have been, we were talking about before, like the frequency, right? That would have been that would have been what I transmitted. I was like, please pay me. I need to eat. And they would have been like, well, I want help. This guy is transmitting, please pay me. I want someone who helps. But because I was like, no, I can just do whatever I want and still earn money.
Yeah.
I was completely in help mode. So that's what they wanted. That's what they needed the most. And that's what was transmitted. And that's where, like, I want this guy. That's how I see it anyway.
Okay. So what would this look like in the context of, let's say you've got your average 22-year-old guy and his own goals is he just wants to hook up with an attractive woman and get past some of his own barriers. And he's never done that before. He's never, like, hooked up with a woman that night. How would we apply that concept to getting this woman? Like, does he have to risk the rejection? Is that what it would look like?
Oh, of course. Fucking hell, yes. Risk the rejection.
Do you have to risk the rejection, sir?
Yeah, you're the guy who's like, so I want to work out and I want to get big, but I don't want to feel the pain of lifting weights. So what do I have to lift weights? I'm like, of course you have to lift weights. But
feel the burn, baby.
What? I'm the bird? What?
Feel the burn.
Feel the burn? Yeah, I can feel the burn, but know that it's not always burn. Right? Look at, again, to build the metaphor of lifting weights, those people who are like the biggest and who want to like get the strongest, they don't see the burn as a burn. They just see it as a process, and they're completely okay with it. Right? For example, if you want to move house, you got to move your furniture. Oh, that's such a pain. Right? If you think it's a minor inconvenience, that's a bit better. If your focus is completely on how amazing it's going to be once you've moved house, then moving all the furniture isn't a big deal. So instead of feeling the burn, because that focuses on lack, that focuses on the issues that come up, instead of focusing on feeling the burn, what you want to instead focus on, and this is the whole focus on that feelings first, the feelings that you get, is focus on how amazing it's going to be when it happens. Because when you focus on how amazing it's going to be when it happens, you're going to naturally do the shit that makes it happen.
Gotcha.
In the same way that you were like, like when I go out, I'm just like, I have to make things happen. I have to prove it to myself. So you get in situations that are a challenge. But when we went out, well, one, it was like because I always see it as like, because like even with those guys, like whenever I go out with those guys, something always happens with one of us. It's because that's in my reality. But whenever they go out separately, nothing happens. Right. It's interesting. So it's an interesting phenomena. But you focus on what you want to happen, right? And that becomes your driving motivator. So if you get rejected, if you feel that rejection, sure, for someone who's not sensitive to something, right? That'll be painful. But overall, the overall goal of having something happen, regardless of if you believe it'll happen or not, just focus on the feeling of it happening. That will be your compass. That'll be your thing that'll reinvigorate you, that'll make things happen, that'll keep pushing you forward over and over again into the fire, so to speak, if you think that. But for a second, I just want to talk about a little bit more about pain. And I know you're more about like meeting like girls and stuff, but have you ever done or have you ever learned anything about Tantra?
Is that yoga?
No, so Tantra is like the yoga of sex.
Okay.
Like it's breathing, it's deep connecting, it's something that actually gets you in touch with your body, something I'd really recommend you to go through. I can't remember where it originated, actually. I think it might be Indian, not 100% sure. But in Tantra, they have, now it's going to be completely alien, especially for some people listening as well. But in Tantra, they have a phrase that means de-armoring, which means it's like opening up your body up to new sensations. For example, if someone who's never had anal before wants to have like anal sex and they want it to be amazing, in some places in some ways you have to de-armor your like rectal cavity, so to speak. So you can, and that's like, so you can become more sensitive to the pleasure that can happen through that. But what happens is sometimes that's painful because that's the process that needs to happen, right? So as you become more sensitive to higher pleasure, you also might experience some pain along the way. But the key is you don't want to numb the pain. You never want to numb the pain, because if you numb yourself from the bad, you also numb yourself from the good simultaneously. So if you're afraid of rejection and you want to figure out some grand plan on how to never get rejected, then you're never going to get the girl. But if you focus on getting the girl, then what will happen is you might get some pain along the way, but that won't be a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But as you keep going through the process, your body will become more sensitive to that rejection, and it won't be a big thing. In fact, it'll start to be contextualized. You know, for someone who has no experience, a girl not talking to you back or not answering you, it might be like, oh my God, something's wrong with me. But as you become more sensitive, it's called sensory acuity. So you get more distinctions, like emotional distinctions. You might realize that in one situation, a girl might reject you just because she didn't hear you. In another situation, she might reject you because she's just been hit on all night. She doesn't want to talk to any more guys. In another situation, it might be just because you smell, you didn't even know. In another situation, it might be because you smelled and she loved it, and that's why she spoke to you. Or it might be that you just looked at her funny earlier on and she was just unaware. But you don't know these things until you expose yourself to them. And as you expose yourself to them, you become more adept at understanding the nuances between, in this case, the rejections.
Yeah, dead right.
Now,
So what's
yeah.
okay? You still wanna?
No, I was just saying that I'm talking about this very holistically, even though you're like
Yeah.
specific to do with meeting girls and like
Yeah.
coitus.
Gotcha.
I'm talking very holistically because I always think it's good to like talk holistically so you can understand the specifics, how it applies to one situation, how it applies to every situation.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sure. I was just gonna jump in and say, yeah, like you said, I'm really sort of like super practical, but not necessarily applying it to like you know, getting with women or whatever, just on the short term. But like if people were to go away from this call right now and it drops out, what's like the number one thing they could do today to get more in tune with their emotions? Are there any particular exercises you would recommend?
I would recommend taking time to figure out what you want in a situation. So it might be to do with girls, it might be to do with money, it might be to do with family even, or just relationships in general, or career.
Yeah.
Take some time to figure out what you want, right?
Okay.
Take some time to just maybe fantasize about it. Fantasize about the best possible scenario. Then feel that feeling, what it feels like. But then not only that, expand upon it. So if you're like most amazing situation, if you were to rate that 10 out of 10, what would a 15 out of 10 look like? What would a 20 out of 10 look like? Create those amazing situations, because some people are afraid to dream. They're like, oh, that couldn't happen. It doesn't have to be possible. You just have to dream about it. Just have to feel it. And then once you've dreamt about this entire situation, find that feeling and just feel that feeling for a good 20 seconds, for a good minute or something like that. How amazing that would be. And as a practice, that itself is something that will bring you more into alignment, change your frequency to match whatever experience that is.
Sure. I'm totally with what you're saying so far. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to add to that one more, I'd recommend doing this before you go to bed and just feeling how amazing it would be to have accomplished such amazing things as you're lying in bed. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I had such an amazing day. Even if you didn't have an amazing day, just feel like what it would be like to have finished everything. Maybe you made a lot of money that day, you got some new clients, and you met someone and she's lying next to you, and you just guys hit it off really well. To feel what that would be like.
Sure.
And enhance that feeling, make it the best feeling you've ever felt, and go to sleep with that feeling. And pretty soon it's like a snowball effect. It's like a little snowball happens, whether or not it's instant, whether or not it's in the next, month or so. For you experience it pretty instantly. So that was pretty good. But like some people don't experience it so instantly. I find when I'm on a call with someone, like we can fucking make things happen in a moment.
Yes.
When it's a specific, this is what we're solving problem kind of call.
Yeah.
Which you experience, but it's like, that's what I would recommend as a practice, to give it a go, to feel it, and then just to let that go, because let that feeling, that'll be your compass. That everything you do probably won't be as good as whatever that feels like. So pretty soon your body will crave, and naturally, it's like when you're hungry, you go eat. When you're thirsty, you go and get water. It's like when you want that, your body will naturally want that. So you'll start to automatic action doing those things.
Yeah, I got to jump in real quick, just slightly back on the, let's say someone takes that advice, and I know just through experience, in 2016, I was over in Chiang Mai in Thailand, and I was at this talk, really cool public speaker talking about some entrepreneurship stuff, and he got us to stand up, close our eyes, and visualize exactly what it was like that we wanted, and to feel it, like where we wanted to see ourselves in 5 years' time, where would we live, what would we smell, etc., etc. And I know at that stage in my life, when I did that exercise, which sounds very similar to what you're saying, let's say, tapping to your emotions, being clear on what it is you want, visualizing it and feeling it, I struggled. Like, I turned into this confusion ball. I'm like, nothing's coming. I just don't know what I want. So what I'm wondering is, this is likely going to happen to some people tonight when they do this exercise. They're going to be like, nothing's coming to me. I don't know what. So would you say they should tap into that confusion, or should they just try this exercise several more times until they finally start feeling something apart from the confusion?
So what I would recommend for the exercise, don't tap into the confusion, and also don't make it a 5 years time thing.
Okay.
Make it a now thing.
Right.
Because that confusion is probably something you need to feel along the way in order to get rid of it, to make it instantaneous.
Okay.
But if you feel it just for that exercise, feel how amazing it would be. if you want to get rid of confusion, tap into that confusion.
Right.
Later, as a separate exercise. Take time to feel what it's like. Okay. Yeah, to feel confused. That's what we call integration, emotional integration. So we feel what it's like to be confused, and then most of the time, then once that's cleared, it's like all the lessons that confused you, you start to get the answers from. It's like they flow to you like, it's like you should have already learned these lessons, so that's why they come to you, because you've cleared it. So do that separately. If you don't think it's possible, or if you think like, oh, like if some self-doubt, like this is impossible, just say, okay, I don't have to believe it's possible. I don't have to be, don't have to figure out how to get there now.
Yeah.
I just have to just give this a go, as if it's happening now, not like in the 5 years time.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's going to happen in 5 years, it'll happen in 5 years. I don't know about you. I don't have 5 years.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah. Okay. And now I believe this is still relevant to what we're talking about. So this is going back again, and I just follow my curiosity, right? And you said throughout the night that we were on, you were positioning yourself in such a way that it would help me sort of bring out these feelings, I guess, and get in touch with my emotions and that sort of side of me. So I do recall one point where you actually made that conscious, and I think you said to me, like, turn your seat around. I think it was you. Yeah, you said, like, turn your seat around, because there was people next to us on the other table. And and so now that clicks. Like, I'm wondering, is there any other moments that I missed where you've positioned yourself in such a way that it would open me up?
There's a few more. There was one time where we were sitting at ABC on the balcony, and there was, I think they were from Somalia. They had like headscarves. Yeah. And I was like, sit over there next to her.
Ah, yeah.
It's because I'm very in tune to find out people who are open and people who want to talk, but also people who are open to you. Like, it was really funny, actually, I can't remember, this is a random story before I finish that question. I can't remember what are the names. Barry, the guy who was asking about confidence.
Yes.
I said to him, just really funnily, I was like, hey man, you're really good at finding girls with boyfriends. And he goes, no, I'm not. And then turns around and taps on a girl's shoulder and he goes, do you have a boyfriend? And the boyfriend goes, yes, it's me. And I'm like, see, there you go. Anecdotal, but I'm like, is it anecdotal or is it fucking synchronicity of life?
Yeah.
But I'm very in tune with who's open socially, but also who's open to more things emotionally, just because, one, that's my job, but also, two, that's what I intentionally have decided. So as consequence, there was that time with the Somalian girls where you were sitting kind of like, where you finished talking to, like there was the Thai girl and her boyfriend, like the Italian boyfriend.
Yes.
And then you joined us and I was like, sit over there. And you did, and I took a photo of you guys. Which I have to send you the photos. There was that.
Yeah, wow, dude, you're well, I don't know what to call you, but I can't believe I missed this shit. No. Like, okay.
Yeah. It just comes from attunement. And I told you earlier that night, at the time, at the gym they told me I was too loud, so I was pretty fucking pissed. So like I was only in alignment for like I knew that I wasn't going to meet people that night. I didn't really want to be honest.
Sure.
I knew I wanted to be social, but I didn't want to meet someone. So I was really happy kind of like giving you those things. Otherwise, I would have been the person who would have been like, yep, okay, I'm here. I'm there. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. So there was a few times I was on the dance floor, but you were like, just like in super Congo party mode. I was like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then with that final situation, you were already like in, as you said before, like beast mode. Even before you felt like you were in beast mode, I felt it within you that I was like, I don't need to do this anymore. Like you naturally put yourself in that position where you were close with that girl. I think you were sitting on the outskirts and you kind of sat closer.
And that's right. Yeah, that's when things like started rolling almost automatically, pretty much automatically, man. Like it all happened so fast. Holy shit. Like even now I'm still processing it all.
Yeah, it takes some time. And also like just feel how amazing it felt. It was a really good night, actually. It was a very good night.
It was indeed.
Yeah, when you left, I was like, another job well done.
Done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and for anyone else who's just as a random thing, random self-promotion, for those people who are interested in experiencing what the hell I'm actually talking about, I call it my voodoo magic. I also call it emotional integration or living in alignment. I do a free call with people. Normally, my program is $5,000 US, but everyone gets a free call. Everyone gets one if I think they're ready for it. If they're not, I go fuck off.
Yeah.
So you can get that at. Right now, I work with mostly, like I said, I work with everyone, but my website is gethimhooked.com because marketing is targeted more towards women. In the future, I might change it to getthemhooked.com. So you go to gethimhooked.com. Up the top, it says coaching, and then it says, I think it says I'm right now on the site. I think it says private coaching. You can apply for a call there, where you can get something a lot more deeper than what we just did, because we go kind of deep into who you are and what you are and where you want to go, what's holding you back, and fucking let's have some quick change.
Yeah, fucking nice.
Like, fuck that. Fuck waiting around. Fuck thinking it takes 5 years. You know, where will you be in 5 years? Too long. Where will you be in 5 years? I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, so let's just do it now.
Yeah,
you know?
Gotcha.
What are you eating for lunch? You don't know. You might know now, but you might change it later. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other questions before we bounce out?
I'd say that's about it. Apart from, I'll leave your links in the description. So 1% fam, just hit them up below, and I'll also include your YouTube link. Check out your videos, and yeah, I'd hope to. Do you know when that video you're making now, like with the banana, is coming out?
Yeah. So part 1 is going to be out in approximately a couple hours from as we're recording this. So I don't know when this thing's going to be out.
Probably in a couple
of
weeks.
My YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The series is called Looking at Love. So in a couple of weeks, there should be like more of the things out. It's very funny. I think it's just a funny fucking thing. You'll see. You'll see some of the other people's answers. Some people have really good answers. Some people have no clue.
Yeah. Fuck. Now I'm like thinking, what the hell did I say? Because it's kind of on the spot, and I feel like most of what I said was good, but I feel like there's a few parts where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm saying. So I think that would be funny to watch as well. Yeah.
And just as a quick thing, and one thing I really wanted to say to you that I forgot to say, because I know right now you're really into the whole like picking up thing.
Yes.
And that's great. Like, do it. But there's a phrase that I love, and me and my friends used to live by, where it's like, what do you want? You know the whole phrase, like, jack of all trades, master of none?
Yes.
It's like, you know, what do you want to be? Do you want to be jack of all trades, master of none? Do you want to be specific in one thing? But people don't know that the full quote actually says, jack of all trades, master of none, but better than the master of one.
Right.
So me and one of my best friends, his name is Dr. Dan, one of my other halves, one I met when we were like quite young. We both decided very early on, because of that quote, that we want to be good at a lot of things, but really good at one thing, and not just be really good at one thing. So that's my whole thing for my whole like anti-pickup movement personally, because that's why I say look at dating very holistically. Look at it like we said before, like if pickup is a fruit, like is a banana, look at dating and relationship as the whole fruit, because then you get the whole thing, including that. That's my whole thing anyway.
I like it.
Because what we did was beyond that, and you experienced it, and you said it moved so quickly, and it was the girl instigating it, and you just getting into a beast mode. It was like, how did it happen? I don't know. Fucking synchronicity of magic. Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. I think we're just about done here, I reckon.
All right. Smash it. Smash life, and I will see you next time you're in Melbourne.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks for hopping on. I'll leave you go.
All right. Mwah. Bye.
All right. Catch you.